Welcome to topic 4A on character evidence. This is a critical part of evidence law because it shows us how courts protect trials from becoming unfair character attacks. We are going to look at the rule that generally prevents using someone's character to prove guilt, why that matters, and the key exceptions where character evidence is allowed. Here is why character evidence is so important. Imagine if the prosecution could just say, the accused has always been dishonest, therefore, they probably did this crime. That would undermine the presumption of innocence. The law wants the jury to decide based on the facts of the case, not on a person's reputation. That's why we start with the general exclusion of character evidence. The general rule is simple. Evidence of a person's bad character is not admissible to prove they acted in that way on the occasion in question. For example, you can't just say he's a thief, so he probably stole this time. Courts insist on evidence directly tied to the facts, not assumptions about behavior. One of the earliest cases here is R versus Rowton. In this case, the accused tried to bring in evidence of his good character. People who could vouch that he was honest and respectable. The court allowed this because while bad character evidence is generally excluded, evidence of good character can be admitted to support credibility and show the accused is less likely to have committed the crime. Notice how the court distinguished between unfair prejudice and genuine support. Case law Pfennig versus the Queen is a turning point case. The accused was charged with a serious offense, and the prosecution wanted to use evidence of similar conduct from the past. Normally, this would be excluded as character evidence, but the High Court said it can be admitted if the evidence is so compelling that there is no reasonable view consistent with innocence. This strict test shows how cautious courts are when allowing similar fact evidence. The main exceptions are 1. Similar fact evidence, as we saw in Pfennig. Number 2. Good character evidence, as we saw in Rowton. And number 3. When the credibility of a witness is directly in issue. In these situations, character evidence becomes relevant and admissible, but the threshold is always high because of the risk of prejudice. In practice, this area of law is all about balance. Courts want to get all the truth, but not at the cost of fairness. That's why judges play a strong gatekeeping role. They decide whether character evidence can come in and they apply a strict test. For lawyers, this means carefully arguing admissibility and anticipating objections. The key lesson for you as students is this. Character evidence is usually excluded to protect fairness. Exceptions exist, but they are narrow and strictly applied. Always ask yourself, does this evidence really prove something important in the case? Or does it just make the jury dislike the accused? That distinction is at the heart of this rule. That concludes our session on character evidence. We saw why the rule exists, how exceptions work, and what the courts do to balance fairness with truth. Thank you for watching. See you in the next lesson.